My wife of 12 years cheated on me this week, and honestly, I'm still trying to process it. I had started noticing a big shift in her behavior after she began a new job that required a lot of travel. Over the last 6 months, she's been on this soul-searching journey. We've been together for 12 years. We met back in high school and we settled down early, building a pretty successful life for our age. We have 2 kids under 5, which means we never really got to experience that carefree young couple phase. Lately, though, things have felt off. Over the past few months, we've talked openly about feeling dissatisfied in the relationship. Nothing major, just the usual wear and tear that comes with kids and busy lives. But after she returned from an overseas work trip a few months ago, I could tell something was wrong. Her energy was different, distant, and distracted. I had a gut feeling something wasn't right, so I checked her phone. That's when I saw that she had been searching about affairs and looking at a lot of content about it on Instagram and other sites. My heart dropped. I confronted her about it right away. She claimed that nothing had happened during the trip, but she admitted that some guys had looked at her, and it made her feel good. She told me she'd been fantasizing about it. I brushed it off at the time, thinking, okay, everyone has fantasies. I mean, I've always trusted her completely, and the idea that she'd ever cheat on me seemed ridiculous. But I couldn't shake it. It stayed in my head for weeks. Eventually, we talked about it more, and I asked her directly if there was someone specific she was fantasizing about. To my surprise, she actually told me it was a guy from work. I took it as brutal honesty and figured that openness was a good sign. Still, it didn't exactly feel great to know my wife was imagining being with someone else. Fast forward a couple of months, and she's scheduled for another work trip, where she'll be seeing him again. I told her how I felt about it, that it made me uncomfortable. But ultimately, I trusted her. I mean, what else could I do? I work full-time too, and I was staying home with the kids while she went on this trip. The first night she landed, she texted me saying she was going out for drinks with her boss, this guy, and another coworker. I trusted her, truly believed they were just getting drinks. But then she stopped responding for a while. My gut kicked in again. I had her location shared with me, so I checked it. I saw that her location had moved from the restaurant to an apartment complex. My heart started pounding. I texted her, asking how things were going. She replied, "We're still at the bar. It's chill." My stomach dropped. I knew right then that she was lying. There was no reason to lie unless something was going on. Her location stayed at that apartment for a while. Later, she texted, "Heading back," followed by, "Just got back." I knew what had happened, but I tried to hold myself together. I FaceTimed her, and she acted completely normal, like nothing had happened. She even made it seem like I was the one being weird. After we hung up, I sat there in disbelief. But then I remembered that I still had access to her WhatsApp on an old device. That's how she communicates with this guy for work. I opened it, and that's when my whole world shattered. The first message I saw was, "I just got off the FaceTime." They had been texting back and forth about how much they wanted each other. It was right there in black and white. There was no misinterpreting it. My chest tightened, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I immediately texted her, saying we needed to talk. When I FaceTimed her again, she denied it at first. I asked her 5 times, telling her I knew what had happened, that I had seen the messages. Finally, she broke down and admitted it. She confessed that it had happened and said she felt horrible, that it was a mistake. She promised it didn't mean anything, that she didn't know why she did it. She ended up cutting her 5-day trip short and flew home the next morning. But honestly, I don't know what to do with any of this. I keep replaying everything in my head. How did we get here? We've built a life together, a family. I've trusted her completely for over a decade. We've always been honest with each other. And now this? How am I supposed to just move past it? The fact that she confessed so quickly once I confronted her should maybe give me some hope. But does it really matter? She still made the choice. She still went through with it. And it wasn't just some random mistake, it was premeditated. She admitted to fantasizing about this guy for months. She knew exactly what she was doing. I'm torn between wanting to try to fix this for the sake of our kids and just walking away. Part of me wants to believe that this was a one-time lapse in judgment, that we can rebuild from this. But another part of me knows that things will never be the same. I'll never be able to fully trust her again. She keeps saying how sorry she is, that she loves me and doesn't want to lose me. But how can I believe that when just days ago she was in bed with someone else? How can I ever believe that this won't happen again? I don't know where to go from here. Part of me wants to forgive her because I love her and I want to keep our family together. But another part of me feels like forgiving her would make me a fool. How do you ever recover from something like this? How do you rebuild a marriage when trust has been completely shattered? I honestly don't know if I can. When she got back, I was filled with anger and sadness. I let it all out. I told her exactly what I thought of her and how hurt I was. I couldn't understand how she could be so willing to blow up everything we've built together, especially when it felt like we were finally getting to a better place. We've built a life, a family. How could she just throw it away like that? Over the next 2 days, we had a lot of conversations, most of which ended badly. We'd start talking calmly, but it would always spiral into frustration and resentment. I was angry. She was defensive, and nothing ever got resolved. Deep down, I know she's the love of my life, but she broke me. I don't know if I can ever see her, or anyone, the same way again. Part of me still loves her the way I always have, but another part is disgusted by what she did. It's like there's this constant internal battle between the part of me that wants to forgive her and the part of me that can't get past the betrayal. We ended up having sex 3 days after it happened. I don't know if that was a mistake, but it definitely wasn't like usual. It was rough, way more intense than how we normally are together. It felt good in a primal way, almost like I was trying to reclaim some sense of dominance or control. But afterward, I couldn't help but wonder if it just made things more complicated. She knows how terrible this is. She's not trying to downplay it. But at the same time, she says she has a messed up relationship with sex. She claims it wasn't meaningful, that it didn't matter, and that she wants me dash. She's also admitted that she's been drinking more over the last 6 months, several drinks most nights, which she thinks contributed to this downward spiral and the identity crisis she's been going through. The thing is, I want to get through this. I actually do. I just don't know if I'm capable of letting it go. She messed up. There's no fixing that. It happened, and nothing can change it. The question is whether I can accept it and move forward, or if this will always hang over us. I know I need to make a decision soon, whether I can forgive her and rebuild our relationship or whether it's better to walk away. But I'm stuck. I still love her. I want to believe that this was a terrible mistake and not who she really is. But at the same time, the trust is shattered, and I don't know if it can ever be repaired. I needed to get this all out because I've been boiling inside, trying to make sense of how I feel. I'm hurt, confused, angry, and yet, I still love her. And that's what makes this so hard. The days after she came back were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. The emotional whiplash of it all, the betrayal, the confession, the attempts to reconnect, left me completely drained. I've never felt this level of emotional chaos before. One minute, I feel like I'm ready to forgive her, and the next I'm so consumed with anger and disgust that I can't even look at her. It's like I'm trapped between two versions of myself, the one that wants to save this marriage because of everything we've built together, and the one that knows I may never be able to trust her again. She's trying. I can tell she's genuinely remorseful. She constantly apologizes, telling me how much she regrets it and how she'll do anything to make it right. But the thing is, you can't just apologize away something like this. It's not like forgetting to pick up milk at the store or missing an important date. This is betrayal on a level that cuts into your soul. She made a conscious choice to sleep with someone else. She lied to me about it. She betrayed the trust that we spent over a decade building. She's been overly affectionate since she came back, kissing me more, holding my hand, sitting close to me on the couch. Part of me likes it, but another part feels like it's forced. Like she's trying to smooth things over too quickly, as if she thinks physical closeness will erase the damage. It's not that simple. I can't just flip a switch and go back to how things were. One night, about a week after she got back, we were sitting on the couch watching a show together. She reached over and rested her head on my shoulder. Normally, this would have been comforting, but instead, I felt cold. My mind immediately flashed to that night, her at the apartment, lying to me about where she was, being with him dash. I tensed up, and she noticed. She sat up and looked at me, eyes wide. "What's wrong?" she asked softly. I sighed. I can't stop picturing it." Her face crumbled. "I know," she whispered. "I hate that I put that in your head." I didn't respond. What was there to say? I don't know if that image will ever leave my mind. Even when we're physically close, I feel this distance between us. Like she's there, but not really. Like a part of her is still with him. We've talked about it a lot since then, probably too much. It's like I'm trying to understand the why behind it, even though I know there's no real explanation that will satisfy me. She says it was a mistake, that it wasn't meaningful, that it happened because she was in a bad headspace and drinking too much. But that's not enough for me. You don't just accidentally sleep with someone. You don't just make a mistake and end up in someone else's bed. A few nights ago, I pushed her harder about it. I asked her if she had feelings for him. At first, she denied it, but I pressed until she admitted that, yes, there had been an attraction, that it felt exciting and new. That's what destroyed me the most. I could almost handle the physical part. It's the emotional piece that I don't know how to get over. The fact that, at least for a little while, someone else made her feel something that I couldn't. She swears that it wasn't about wanting to leave me, that it wasn't about replacing me. She says it was about how it made her feel, desired, attractive, wanted. She said after having kids and being stuck in the daily grind, she started feeling invisible, like I didn't see her the same way anymore. And then this guy at work comes along, gives her attention, makes her feel exciting and sexy again, and she got caught up in it. The thing is, I get it. I really do. I felt invisible too. After the kids came, our lives have revolved around schedules, responsibilities, exhaustion. We stopped prioritizing each other. Sex became more about routine than connection. And yeah, maybe I didn't tell her enough how beautiful she is or how much I appreciate her. But that doesn't justify cheating. That doesn't give her a pass to cross that line. She's been trying to figure herself out since it happened. She told me she wants to go to therapy alone and together. I agreed to it, but I'm not sure how much it'll help. Talking about it only seems to make it feel more real. We've had sex a few more times since that first time after she got back. It's been different, more intense, more desperate. It's like we're both trying to hold on to something that feels like it's slipping away. But there's also this undercurrent of tension. I can't tell if we're reconnecting or if it's just the fear of losing each other driving it. Last night, she asked me if I thought we could ever get back to how we were before. I didn't know how to answer. I told her that I want to, but I honestly don't know if it's possible. How do you rebuild trust after something like this? How do you stop yourself from wondering if it's going to happen again the next time she goes on a work trip or stays out late? She started crying then. She said she's scared I'll never forgive her, that even if I say I forgive her, I'll always hold it over her head. And honestly, she's not wrong. Even if I stay, even if we rebuild, I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully let it go. I don't know if I'll ever be able to look at her without wondering if she's thinking about him. I've been doing a lot of thinking about why I want to stay. Is it because I truly believe we can fix this? Or is it because I'm scared of starting over? We have a life together, a family. Leaving would mean blowing all of that up. Our kids would have to grow up in 2 separate homes. And I don't know if I'm strong enough to handle that. But staying comes with its own weight. If I stay, I have to live with the knowledge that this happened. That the woman I love, the woman I trusted more than anyone, betrayed me in the most intimate way possible. And the hardest part is that I still love her. If I hated her, this would be easier. If I could just walk away and never look back, I wouldn't feel this torn up inside. But I love her. And I know she loves me. But sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes the damage is too deep to undo. I told her that I need time. I'm not ready to make any big decisions yet. She said she understands, that she's willing to give me all the time I need. But time doesn't guarantee anything. Time doesn't erase the image of her with someone else. Time doesn't rebuild trust. It just gives you room to decide if it's worth trying. Right now, I'm stuck in this gray area, somewhere between holding on and letting go. I want to believe we can find a way back to each other. But part of me wonders if this is the beginning of the end. And the scariest part? I don't know which outcome I'm hoping for.